Hello and welcome back to the beginning of the Rocket League Ireland Superstars Season 2. This is going to be a startup stream for the season. We are going to be doing the draft. We'll be revealing the long-awaited picks that have been made over the past few days between our managers, and we'll begin to get a grasp. We can make some predictions. We can have a look at what happened last season, and to start with, I'd like to introduce our panel of guests that we have with us this afternoon. We have myself, Rez, desk hosting this evening, and to begin to introduce our captains. So, the captain of Nagale's manager of the season last year, we have Enrong, and welcome Enrong. How are we this afternoon?
Thank you very much. Yes, I am indeed the manager of Season 1. Let us not forget that and make sure that this goes into the minds of all the managers that have joined me today.
Absolutely. So, just to run down who the other managers are this season, we've got Ryan managing the Saints, Carrick Dan managing the Fina, LTX Sam for Satanta, Cans for the Banshees, Hiccup for the Rebels, who is unable to be here today, and obviously Enrong for the Gales. Welcome everyone to the stream today, and to begin with, for the first sort of 5 minutes of this stream, let's have a look back at last season. Obviously, I know that Ryan, you weren't involved as a captain last season. And nor was LTX Sam, but sort of particularly addressed to Enron, Carrick Dan. How did you feel last season went for your teams?
Ryan, you can start, I guess.
I'll start by saying I was in fact involved last season.
You were. I take that back. Okay.
I was. Felt like I drafted pretty well on paper, but for one of the teams didn't go as planned. My own team, the Shooting Star team, just couldn't catch a stroke of luck at all with timing and scheduling, and obviously the Rising Stars,
So
took it home.
yeah, did you sort of take that into account when making your picks for this season to sort of avoid the same mistake?
Honestly, not so much with my own team this season. I think I took chemistry into account, as you'll see later with the picks.
Cool. So, Carrick Dan, you were the manager of the Fiend last season as well. Your team narrowly missing out on the Shooting Star final in Game 7. Any sort of comments and reflections from last time?
Well, listen, I think I drafted flawlessly last season, to be honest. But then again, you can't call the future, and it turns out that some people's motivation and stuff dipped after a while. But luckily, the Shooting Star team actually did well. One of my teams did something, thank God. But yeah, unfortunately, they just choked really hard. Like Aiden, he's all right. Little dude, he's a subpar captain, and Fastbenders. I forgot he was on the team for half the season. But listen, I think this season I'm probably going to win at least 2 out of the 3 tiers. So yeah, I should be all right.
I like the confidence. Enrong, anything to add as the reigning manager of the season?
I think Dan's right. I hope that Dan is very, very wrong and that he doesn't win 2 of the 3 tiers. But we'll find out shortly, come 10 past. But yeah, I'm happy enough with my picks, I guess. Not much else we can say. We'll see shortly. But based off of last season, I think I drafted flawlessly, and it showed in the results. And don't forget, he's got the tag, Dan.
Yeah, I think you definitely did draft perfectly, picking me to carry your Shooting Star team through to the final. And so we've got to that 5 past mark. Let's have a look at what we've got for this season. Get everyone involved in the conversation. Does anyone want to start off on what they hope to see from this season?
For me personally, I'd hope to see a little bit more support. So what I mean by that is like different tiers, like cheering and rooting for the other tiers, especially like obviously within the one organization. But I think what we should do to get that going is like people to stream their matches as often as possible. Because if you think back to 6-mans, like peak 6-mans, we could get a stream for every division. So I think if we focus on like getting the matches streamed, even if it's just players or if it's a manager or if it's a caster streaming a match, I think we can get like a really hype season and everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, LTX Sam, I'll go to you now. Obviously, you know the players that you've got. You know your roster for the season in the 3 divisions, but obviously you don't know who has picked who on the other teams. How confident are you without knowing who else is playing for who?
I'm very confident regarding my shooting star and a bit skeptical of my rising star. And my all star is either it's one of those teams where it's going to be top or bottom, you know. So I don't know. I'm basically winging it, to be honest, and just praying that it works out.
Yep, we saw how that worked out for Unai Emery. So best of luck to you for the season.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan, coming to you, manager of the Saints. Anything to think about in this season?
Just to carry on with Dan said, I think it would be a good idea to kind of keep what happened at the end of the season with the streams and all. The streams for the finals were pretty hype and they had a good crowd in them. If you had maybe like a match of the week every week, if you could get a caster or something, I think it would keep people a lot more engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Enron, you won last season. Looking to do the same this one.
Absolutely. I think the guys are right, though. It's a good point that Dan and Ryan both brought up and kind of elaborated on. I think one of the reasons why our team, and you'll know this, Rez, because you were in it, but our org was so, I guess, successful. It wasn't just because we drafted good players across all of them. Well, maybe not the All-Star, but it was the activity levels, I think. We were quite active, especially our Rising Star team, and the All-Star team. But you saw what our Discord was like. It was hopping, and from what I've heard from people inside other Discords, there weren't managers. That was not necessarily the case. So I'm hoping that with my I guess my offspring going to other Discords, maybe they can spread the activity around a little bit.
Yeah. So just a question open to the floor here. Dan, Enron, Sam, and Ryan, who's going to win this season?
Me. There's no one to dispute either. They know. Everybody already knows I've got it in the bag.
Well,
Well,
now that the special needs kid is done talking, I definitely think that I'm gonna excel, and yeah, it should be fun.
Fantastic. So
Just let me remind everyone here that it's peak at 70 voltage.
just to look forward to the rest of the stream then. So in a couple of minutes' time we will be beginning the draft. That will be announced by Enron. But obviously I'm just going to sort of briefly go through what the draft is. So out of the 54 players that signed up for this season, or actually 56 I believe, two with a little bit too late to the punch, ended up being subs, but 54 players, and there'll be three per team, and there'll be 3 rosters per organisation, and I've explained this totally wrong. Right, let's start again. So
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Go.
So out of the 54 players that were drafted, there are 3 tiers in RLIS. We've got the Rising Star, the lowest tier, Shooting Star, and All Star. The organisation captains here that we've got on the panel with me today, they have decided, they've picked the players they would like for their team on a first come first served basis, and we'll have the Enron, who is admin and a dictator of both RLI and RLIS, announcing the picks in the coming moments. We will be trying to delay as long as we can until our 5th manager, Lovely Cans, shows up on the block to sort of add some sort of hype into the stream.
Screaming.
Yeah, definitely. So unfortunately we do have only 5 of the 6 managers here today. Hiccup, busy with other
Just personal things,
personal things in life, but she'll definitely I have heard rumour that she has got some menacing teams, perhaps a dark horse coming into this season. So Enrog, I think it's about time for you to announce the first player of RLIS Season 2. So this is going to be for the Rising Star division, and take it away.
Cool. So we're going to start off with Rising Star, and the number 1 pick in Rising Star, so it was from Carrickdan's Nafina team, was Donal. So Donal was on the winning team last season in Rising Star. Dan's Nafina team. Sorry, not Dan's Nafina team. Ryan's Saints team, but Dan has picked him up for his Nafina team, and Rez.
Yeah,
ask away.
Yeah, so that's a pick from Dan. Dan, your sort of choice behind picking Donal for the season?
Not gonna lie, I've started teaching Donald the ways of the Beatles. I definitely think the Beatles are the best band ever, and he's actually starting to take a liking for them, so it's impressed me. But other than that, I've seen the stuff he can do in Showboat. He might not have much in the way of brains, but he can definitely flip resets. So that's all I want really, and I'm happy with my pick. Fair
enough. So that's the first pick. The first pick of the season will go to Donal for the Fina. Dan, happy with that pick overall?
Yeah, I think he's probably, mechanically one of the strongest in that tier. So I think if hopefully the lads that I've drafted later on are going to be sensible enough to take him back down to earth when he thinks he's too good for the tier.
Certainly, right. Enron, do you want to take us away with the second pick?
Yeah, second pick up from the Saints. Ryan, the manager here, he ended up picking Squid G for his team, and that's quite an interesting pick, I think.
Yes, Squid. I definitely made it to the final last season. Can't quite remember if we won or not, but happy with that, Ryan? Was he sort of your first option on the list?
I think Squid will bring a good cam head to the team, and obviously he is the winner of season 1 of Rising Stars, so nothing he hasn't done before if he were to have repeat success.
Okay, absolutely. Enron, pick number 3.
Yeah, pick number 3 came from myself for the Gales, and I went with the random non-Irish person who's only been in the Discord a couple of weeks, who's been spamming general a bit, Kimmy, for me on my team.
Interesting. So, was he someone you sort of scouted out prior to the season starting, or just pick away? Or?
Yeah, I was looking at him for my shooting star team, but I went with someone else for that, based off of 1s and 3s. But Kimmy's 2's rank is almost grand champion, so I think Rising Star is going to be in for a bit of a showing this season.
Perfect. Then, obviously, you did mention earlier when I was talking to you that the level in Rising Star has certainly seen a big rise this season compared to last. Is sort of Kimmy someone you think who you can accommodate for that?
Yeah, absolutely. 2's main. We'll have to work on the 3's main with some in-house scrims, I think, but hopefully we can do well. Fantastic.
Pick number 4 then.
Yeah, so pick number 4 went to Cans, and Cans, of course, is the Banshees, and that is Bass00.
Bass00. So he's someone he sort of showed up in the final last season. He obviously made it to the final with his team. And lovely Cans, you reckon he'll be happy with that pick? Obviously, maybe someone wants to answer on his behalf.
I guess I'll answer. Yeah, Bass was on the Satanta team. They made the playoffs, and they finished 3rd overall, and they finished 3rd in the playoffs. I think he's a good player. He's one of the highest rated players in Rising Star again. I mean, you've seen the first 4 picks. Dan has taken one of the winning trio from Ryan's team. Ryan took another one. I've taken a guy who probably is borderline shooting star, and I think Bass kind of carried that Satanta team last season.
Yeah, definitely. So Kimmy picked up by the Gales, and Bass picked up by the Banshees. Just Satanta and the Rebels to go for the Rising Star Division first picks. Who have we got up next?
Yes, so up next we have LTX Sam's pick. So Sam, of course, is on Satanta, and he's gone with Wrench, another non-Irish player in the Discord.
Right, Wrench, interesting one. Sam, any comments on that?
Believe it or not, I've not heard of this man up until about 8 o'clock last night. He is 1 game off C3 in 3s. He's decent in 2s, and he's been playing since season 6 and been basically that rank ever since for the past 5 seasons. So I'm hoping he's quite a smart, level-headed player who, because my logic is that I want to have a solid positional rotational team for the bottom divisions, and I think that the fact that he's at that rank consistently, I think if he was a more mechanical player, he'd have shot up quicker. And also, he had a decent rank advantage over the next best pick I had, so he was the only logical choice, even though he's a bit of a chancer.
Yep, definitely. Sam obviously exercising his sort of hell for leather approach for his Red Star team, and that just leaves the Rebels. Who have we got here, Aaron?
Yeah, Hiccup of the Rebels went with Gilzo as her first pick, the last pick of the first round in Rising Star.
Interesting. Obviously, I don't think we've heard of him, have we? Or
Well, he's been in the
anything
community a bit. He's Irish, I believe, and he's been in general here thereabouts. I think he's champ 2 level in 2 playlists, so he's a decent player. He's solid, and I think almost all of these guys in the first round are decent players. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I do apologise to any of the one that I'm tagging in the Discord, but I do need to try and copy and paste names sort of with roughly the right spelling. So apologies to Gilzo and Kimmy for that one. But well, now moving on to round 2. So these are the players who were picked second in Rising Star. Who have we got first, then, Ron?
Yeah. So Hiccup again. So she starts with round 2 for the Rebels, and Hiccup went with Tasting Rainbows.
Tasting Rainbows. Another one that I'm gonna make sure I know I spell correctly. Don't want to get anything wrong on stream.
Tasting Rainbows, 310 for some reason. Probably a console player. I don't know much about this player, to be honest with you, but she picked him up pretty quickly early on. So Hiccup, of course, I guess for everyone else who's kind of tuned in, she basically made up a formula where she took everyone's 3's rank, 2's rank, and 1's rank and put them together to come up with a really random number, and that's how she picked her team, because she doesn't know most players. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Definitely an interesting choice. Looking forward to see how Tasting Rainbows performs coming into the season. And pick number 2 from the second choices.
Yep, so LTX Sam came along here with Satanta's pick of Adequate Llama, who made the final last season.
Adequate Llama for LTX Sam. Sam, any sort of comments on that?
Been playing with him a bit lately. He's very good. He's very solid. I love him. He's a lovely fella and reasonably active, so scheduling won't be a problem. So, yeah.
Is that something you went for sort of during your picks to make sure you have people who are available often?
I wouldn't go so far. Obviously, it wasn't the only. It was a factor in my decisions in certain picks, but not in this one really, because Lama's not a problem. You know, he's active, so that didn't come into play, and I didn't consider him against anyone who wasn't active. So it kind of comes into play a bit more in the All-Star division.
Perfect. Up next, Enron.
Yep, so he's joined the channel, and I'm sure you can give him a little intro in a second, Rez, but Cans has gone with Krolic as his pick, K1 Krolic, that is, for the Banshees.
Cans, welcome to the stream. Running a little bit late, but you're here for your second pick. What was your sort of choice behind picking Krolic?
I'm out of breath. Sorry, I had to run up a fucking road. Well, my genius formula I came up with is just went with like one of the highest ranked players that was left on the list. Yeah, Krolic. Yeah, he's okay. He's like champ 1, mid champ 1 in 3s, kind of champ 2 and 2s. So I kind of went for players that are good at 2s and 3s. 1s I don't care because stupid game mode. Yeah, I realised that he is a bit questionable in general over the past few months now, and I will be keeping him. He'd be on a very short leash with me, like definite.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying this now, Krolic. I'll be watching you very closely. So buck up, kid. Now, right? Yeah.
Fantastic. LTX Sam, it looks like you've got a contender for the most questionable manager of the season. Well done. Right, moving on. Who's the fourth pick of the second round?
Yeah, it's myself for the Gales. I went with Smoke Jesus, probably the most questionable name in Rocket League.
Yep, obviously Smoke Jesus, changing his name a little while ago from Don't Smoke Weed, Smoke Jesus to just Smoke Jesus, so maybe that's somewhat of an improvement, but reasoning behind him?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I'm trying to I find that at the lower ranks, toxicity is a big problem from what I've seen last season in RLIS. And Smoke Jesus is one of the most chill people there is. And he's just a really solid player. We've seen him at LAN. He almost carried Lucra to win against Forehead and Cans, so he's a decent player.
Fair enough. And up next?
Yep, so up next is Ryan from the Saints, and Ryan went with Redport.
Interesting, Redport. Heard he's taking the day off today to watch the stream, so much appreciated for that. But Ryan, reason behind that pick?
Well, you said it yourself there. He's taking the day off. I think that just exemplifies everything you need to know about Redport. He's a man who's dedicated, if nothing else. Don't think there's a man in the server who's played more Rocket League than Redport, at least in 2019.
Fair enough. And the final pick of round 2, Enron?
Carrick Dan's Nafina went with Tony.
Tony, does anyone know about this man, Dan? Reasoning?
Tony's a bit of a header, not gonna lie. Like, I know him in real life, which will definitely help because when he loses, I can just beat him up. But yeah, he's a good lad. Like, he's a good head between his shoulders, and you know what? If nothing else, he'll bring a couple of laughs to the team. So I'm happy with the pick.
Fantastic. So that concludes the second round of picks for the Rising Star division. We'll be getting into things for the third one right away. So Enron, do you want to bring us into this one?
Yeah, Dan again is up for Nafina, and he went with Aaron as his final pick.
Yeah, Aaron, definitely a solid player. Dan, sort of same old question. Reasoning?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this one's obvious. Minecraft. He was in my Minecraft server there, and he watched me die, and it was my only death in like a couple of months. And any man who can watch me die in Minecraft and, you know, let me rest my head on his shoulders is a man that I trust to win Rising Stars. So he's an alright Rocket League player as well, I suppose.
Fair enough. I like the positive vibes about your team. Up next, Enron.
Ryan, his last pick for the Saints is Paradox.
Ryan, obviously Paradox, fairly well known around the community. Reasoning for picking him?
Yeah, basically, taking a leaf out of Dan's book there. If nothing else, he's a good personality in the team. He's well liked.
So is personality sort of something that you think is a big factor, especially when picking these
Oh
teams?
yeah, definitely in Rising Stars. Like Enron said, it's keeping toxicity out of your team in Rising Stars is massive.
Respectable. Okay, so the Fina and the Saints concluded for the Rising Star division. Who have we got up next?
Yes, myself for the Gales. I went with this guy called Jay Clone.
Interesting. Never heard of him. Do you sort of know more about him than I do?
I have absolutely no idea who he is.
Any sort of inkling towards what you can bring to the team?
He plays lots of Rocket League by the games he's played in Oral Tracker.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
That's about it. It was a choice between him, two weaker players, one player that's around his level, but that player's barely played any games, so I went with this guy.
Fair enough. Who's it next?
Yes, up next is Cans. So Cans and the Banshees went with. Well, we knew him as Officer BJ Pogs. He's now called Pogo Cat.
Oh, it's that BJ Pogs, man, is it? Yay!
Cans.
Poggers, man. Hey,
Cans certainly happy with that pick. Glad to have got him. Cans, obviously, can you sort of explain your emotion behind this pick?
I had no clue that was actually Officer BJ Pogs. I thought it was just a new person. But really happy with that now. It was just it's very hard to pick, from the last for like your last pick. It was very hard to pick, because they're really all around the same level. Yeah, so I just thought went again with like his ranks in 2s and 3s, diamond, like high diamond. So it was kind of the best that I could get. Again, doesn't matter about your 1s with me. You don't need to play 1s. So that's just why I went with him. Like,
Fair enough. Definitely respect.
I'm happy though. I'm really happy though. Mr. BJ Pogs, lad. Yeah.
Right, okay, so I know next up we have Satenta. This is a big pick here, because obviously whichever player isn't picked here won't be the last pick of the entire draft for the captain. So who survives the peril of being last pick, Enron?
Yeah, Sylvia Sam of Satanta has gone with Henbro88.
Sam?
So one cool thing I realized is that the bottom 3 pick players' names all rhyme. So I think that might be a factor in why they're at the bottom. That has nothing to do with my pick, but I just thought I'd add that. I don't know who he is. He was picked in a game of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
Fair enough then. Right.
Yeah.
Enron, who is Hiccup picked up for the final pick of the Rising Star division?
Last and most certainly least, Margot.
Margot, I don't think we know who he is. So
Ryan does. Ryan, tell us.
Ryan, enlighten us about Mogo.
I think Hiccup has got a very strong player on her hands. Someone who went under the radar. And of course, there's a formula involved, so numbers back up what I'm saying, I guess.
Fair enough. So that concludes the Rising Star division. I'll go through the teams one more time. So Nagales, managed by Enrong, has completed a team of Kimmy, Smoke Jesus, and Jake Lone. LTX Sam for Satenta of Wrench, Adequate Llama, and Henbor 88. Hiccup for the Rebels of Gilzo, Taste Rainbow 320, and Mogo. Nafina, managed by Carrot Dan of Donal, Tony, and Aaron. The Saints, managed by Ryan of Squidgy, Paradox, and Redport. And Lovely Cans, who manages the Banshees, has created a team of Bass00, Krolic, and Pogocat. I'm now going to hand over to our favourite journalist of RLI Weekly, Carrot Dan. If you'd just like to sort of pick out a manager to interview here.
Well, yeah, for the Rising Stars, I thought I'd bully LTX Sam with a few questions here. So, just
By
just
all
two, just two quick questions, Sam. So, whilst you are known for your impeccable timekeeping, and that's just a little throwback to when you missed 6 months at
Yeah, that was at 8, yeah.
8 p.m. Yeah, and you slept in first.
Yeah.
Do you feel your lack of experience as a manager will affect you this season?
No, I don't at all, because I've been a mod for many years. Everyone here knows I'm a very respectable mod and I'm very good at my job. I was captain for Setanta last season, so I think I'm well up to it, Dan.
That's fair enough, Sam. That's fair enough. So, this is just a little interesting thing I thought about a player that you decided to pick up. Do you feel the addition of Wrench will affect team morale negatively? Not only is he not active in the Discord, but he is also non-Irish.
Well, I've looked into that. He's actually yet to post a message and all, which is slightly concerning. But I'm just hoping he's a sound lad. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, he doesn't take over the Discord.
Well,
Fair enough, Sam. Thanks for your brilliant answers, as always.
hoping for
You're
the
welcome,
best.
Dan.
I like
Thank
that.
you for your brilliant questions.
I like that attitude. So that was Carrot Dan, manager of the Fina and chief journalist at RLI Weekly. We'll now be moving on to the second division, the division I'm attempting to avoid this season, Shooting Star. Obviously the same managers. I think we're running a little bit short on time. So Enrong, let's get straight into the picks for this division.
Yeah, so Shooting Star, the first manager to draft in Shooting Star is Ryan. Ryan from the Saints, and Ryan has gone with Ruffs as his first pick.
Oh, I heard the R and had my heart in my mouth for a second. Ryan, your choice for this one. Why have you gone for it?
Like I said earlier, chemistry was a big factor in going to the Shooting Star team because, having fun the first step to success. And Ruffs has recently been called the best Rocket League player in Galway by none other than Lucra. So you got to take things like that into account.
Fair enough. And what have we got up next?
Yeah, next pick up is Nafina's Carrick Dan, and Dan has gone with Clover.
Yeah, so, I picked a non-Irish, and that's definitely something that a character for me. I'm not gonna say anything actually. Yeah, he's a decent Rocket League player. He's hit 1600 multiple times. If he cops himself on and actually doesn't take breaks and doesn't say that the game's terrible, I think we can go far.
Fair enough. On to the next one, Enrong.
I just want to add, actually, that sounds a lot like cans.
I know, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. Class. I was just going to say, doesn't that what cans do?
Right, next up is myself, Nagales. I've picked up the Season 1 MVP from Shooting Star, and the best player in Shooting Star, Gitsy King.
Fair enough. Getsy King making it in. Obviously, he carried me to the win in the finals. So, well to him. He makes it onto Enrong's Shooting Star roster. And up next.
Yep, up next is LTX Sam's Satanta, and he has gone with the other winner within Shooting Star last season, Naylor.
LTX Sam, you've split up the long-lasting couple of Gitsy and Naylor. Have you done that to sort of try and ruin Enrong's team, or?
Yeah, I was very worried about him getting a combination yet again of Gitsy, Naylor, and yourself, as you will almost definitely be in Shooting Star. The only slight concern is his lack of comms, as you've seen his casting at LAN. He is very quiet. And I mean, he can hit the ball, so that's a plus. And he doesn't need Discord service like Gitsy, so that's a plus as well.
Positive vibes coming from the LTX Sam camp at Satanta. Up next, Enrong.
Yes, up next after LTX Sam is Hiccup. So Hiccups, the Rebels team have picked up my_parable.
My_parable, obviously a player who supposedly disappeared from the server for multiple months. Apparently also threatened to leave the server if he was in Shooting Star, so a big risk to pick him, but that's a pick from Hiccup. My parable will be Hiccup's first pick in this division. Up next, Enrong.
Yes, the final pick within round 1, of course, is Cans from the Banshees, and he has picked up the finalist from last season, Fassbender.
Fassbended. How I spelled that, I do not know, but Can's decision for the pick, did you sort of want the experience that he had from last season?
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. As he made to the final last season, that definitely crossed my mind. As well as when I was playing with him in them IEL tryouts, whatever, and I thought he was actually pretty good. He was pretty speedy and could actually hit the ball as well. Done me a good couple of times, so I just went with that. Like, I think he could be a solid player for Shooting Star.
Fair enough. Good choices. Going on to the second round now. I am hoping that I've avoided Shooting Star after throwing the first picks. Enron, who have we got to start round 2?
Has done a hilarious thing here.
Oh no.
He didn't go with you though. It was Jay Ryan. He was.
Jay Ryan. He'll make it in on Kansas Shooting Star team. It's the second pick. Jay Ryan. Solid stuff, Kansas. Happy with that pick?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have no clue who he is really, but yeah, he's a like mid 1500s in 2s and 3s, and yeah, that's probably one of the best from the bunch I picked as well. Anyway, crap, his ones rank looks a bit dodgy. Well, it's better than mine, but like we take that. But yeah, I think he could be a solid player. I think him and Fast will work together very nicely. So yeah.
Good. Up next.
Yep. Up next in Shooting Star in round 2 is Hiccup, and Hiccups. The Rebels have picked up Junior.
Junior getting picked up. Sam, was that unexpected, your reaction there?
No, not unexpected. I forgot he was playing RLIS actually.
Moving
There you go. A
moving
moderator
swiftly on.
within RL Ireland forgets who's playing where.
No, but yeah. Anyways, sorry, Wes.
moving swiftly on. Let's keep going on.
Rez just wants to move swiftly on, guys, because he wants to make sure that he's not in round 2. Okay, next pick up is LTX Sam, and Sam's Satanta team have picked up Dormer.
Dormer going to be joining Naylor on Satanta's Shooting Star team. Happy with that?
Very happy with it. I just thought it'd do Naylor good to have a calm head. To my understanding, Dom is still in Canada, but I am hoping he will make. Yes.
Good. Up next, Enron.
Cool. Rez?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on.
Did I cut out them? Then he thinks I'm still talking.
I don't think he did. I think Rez just fell apart. But anyway, it's a good time to mention that the next pickup in Shooting Star